Karate place.
Good afternoon. You're listening to the new WCEG Network on WCEG Click your live stream tab or watch us live on your smart TV, YouTube at WCEG Network. I'm Celeste Giordano, your show host, along with my co-host Sara, and we are the global legacy and wealth building for the next hour. We're the worldwide community empowerment group where we speak life into the community. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and on Instagram at WCEG_talk_radio and at WCEG Network. Last but not least, our disclaimer. The topics and opinions are those of the show host and guest and not WCEG Network. Thank you for your continued support. Well, good afternoon, ladies, and happy International Women's Day.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing great.
Well, good. Sara, we are so glad to have you back. We missed you a couple of weeks ago, and we have been lifting you and your family in our prayers and thoughts with the loss of your father. But just cherish those memories and all the good times that you had with him. But we are glad to have you back today, my sister.
Well, thank you for keeping me lifted in prayers because it always makes a difference.
Absolutely. We have a phenomenal show lined up here tonight, Sara. We have Michelle Lorms all the way from Northern Kentucky with Leading Ladies of Northern Kentucky. We have Joan Williams right here in Flowery Branch, and she's with Kiwanis Networking. And we have Lisa Parks, and Lisa is with ImageCon, and she is our newly appointed Executive Director of Women of Community Impact. And this is going to be a phenomenal show. So welcome, ladies. We are so glad to have you today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, Sara, before we get started, what I'd love to do, because it's tax season right now, and you're just double plussing your business here and just all kinds of people, let's just let everybody know a little bit about you and how they can get a hold of you in case we have some of our listeners and audience that need to get in touch with you and get their taxes filed.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm Sara Poe with Poe's Accounting Services. We're in Decula. You can reach us at 770-545-8841 or info@poecpas.com. And just so you're aware, March 15th, a week from today, S-Corp returns and partnership returns are due, or an extension is due. It will not let you file an extension by computer the day after. So just know that you need to get that done. If we can help you in any way, I'd love to do it. Thank you.
Absolutely. And thank you for that, Sara. And we're going to introduce our guest here in just a minute. But with it being International Women's Day, what I thought it would be really great is I would like to start with our first time guest here, Michelle Lorms. Is with International Women's Day, is there a woman in your life that has really impacted you over your years as a successful entrepreneur?
Oh my goodness. There's several that I can think of. One is my mother. And my grandmother. Both were just very successful women in business and educators as well, but just what they did and I think it all goes back to what they teach us and what we learn from them through their actions. And they led by example. And I don't think there's a greater gift that you can receive from a parent or a grandparent than to lead by example and to lead with love.
Absolutely, Michelle. Thank you so much. How about you, Joan?
You say me, Celeste?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I didn't hear you. Yes, so I'm Joan Williams, and I would have to agree with Michelle that my mother is the first one that comes to mind because she was a stay-at-home mom for a while and then went into business herself, and she was just a great role model in life and in business and in her faith walk as well. And then secondly, I would say the person most recently that's impacted me is Celeste. Celeste Giordano is a business coach and mentor of mine, and been knowing her for about 6 years, and I've learned so much from her. both personally and professionally, and being a female entrepreneur. So Celeste, I thank you very much.
Thank you. My heart loves your heart, Joan. Thank you. How about you, Lisa?
Well, let's see. If we're talking about leading with love, I would probably say at the top would be my mom. And if we're looking at future entrepreneurs, and would be my daughter. She's just a little bundle of energy. From a business perspective, though, there's two women that really are just head and shoulders above others. And one is Celeste Giordano and one is Debbie Peters. Debbie is out of Ohio and Celeste is out of Atlanta and the tri-state county, Kentucky, Ohio, Cincinnati area. And both of them are impeccable sales women, but they're servant leaders first. And I think that, you can learn all the tools of the trade for sales, but unless you lead with heart and as a servant, what's it all about? So that's my little group.
Oh, thank you so much, Lisa. That was very kind. How about you, Miss Sarah?
Both my grandmothers, not that my mother was too, but both of my grandmothers were very much, I learned a lot from them in different ways. But one grandmother, her husband died when he was in his 50s and she had to raise 3 kids. And, you can't just sit back on your laurels and do that. And she was in social work, but she was new in that field. And then my other grandmother, she ran a household like a soldier. I mean, you didn't waste anything. But so there's some good lessons from both of them. And so just here recently, I've thought a lot about them, and they've been on my mind. So they were the ones that did that for me.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Sarah. And,
What about you,
and it comes, well, thank you. It comes to mind. The first one is my grandmother, Quinn. And Sarah, I didn't know this about your grandparents, but my grandmother, Quinn, lost her husband when he was in his 40s. And she just instilled in all of her children, her grandchildren, her nieces and nephews, about integrity and character and working hard. And all of us have all been like entrepreneurs most of our lives. And so my grandmother, Quinn, and my mom also was a entrepreneur back in the early 60s and 70s when women really, were just weren't a stay-at-home mom. She worked and she did amazing things. And my brother, my sister, and I were all entrepreneurs. And I'm very proud of my mom. She's 84, and she, in the little town that she lives in Maynardville, Tennessee, she was one of the founding people that created a park and had somebody donate the land and then created a park for the community. So, that's her legacy there. And I'm just very appreciative of that. But most importantly, it's women like each of you that has impacted me and my heart and all the things and the passion that you have to serve people first. And I just want to commend you for being heart-centered servant leaders. And I appreciate that. And that's what impacts me the most. All right. So, Sarah, we have a great show here tonight that we're going to get started on. And we have a new person, Michelle Lorms, with us tonight with Leading Ladies of Northern Kentucky. And what I would love, Michelle, is for you to take all the time in the world that you would like to tell us a little bit about you, your family, and your business and what you do, and how important being a heart-centered servant leadership means to you.
Hey, well, thanks for having me. Such a pleasure. And my name is Michelle Lorms. I live in Northern Kentucky. I'm from a town called Union, Kentucky, is where I've been for the last 15, 20 years almost. I have 2 boys, 2 teenagers. They're 15 and 16, Tanner and Landon, and my husband, John, and I have been married. It'll be 24 years in June. So I feel blessed in all the things I get to do. Being a mother most is such a privilege, but y'all know raising teenagers, it has its tricks and challenges. But truly, a little bit about me is I come from, like I said, my parents have always just been my biggest role models, and they've always worked so hard, and our faith has always been super important to us. And so that in itself has been like such a gift. and that I want to continue. And I try to do that with my boys as well. And so about 10 years ago, I was blessed to leave the corporate world to purchase a franchise. And I work with new movers that are coming to the area, and I provide a new movers publication resource called Be Local Northern Kentucky. And that has just been so fun and just such a neat way when you think about it, like only living like 30 minutes from where I grew up and thinking about people that are moving across the country and coming to a new area, like they don't know. And I just can't imagine, because it's just everything's so familiar. And a lot of you all can relate. Things are so familiar because you've been there maybe all your life, or if you have moved, you're like, oh yeah, I can relate. So what started out as just a new movers resource that was just a beautiful color publication that would go out to these folks has really kind of turned into a community platform where we've created events, and just from there, a group called Leading Ladies NKY. I was meeting all these amazing women that were either new to the market or new to business. And one thing I said when I left corporate, I always said, if I'm ever blessed to be able to leave that and start something on my own, I was like, I want to find a way to serve. And I didn't know what it meant or what it looked like. And I really feel like this is like what God's called me to do, is a way to give back, is to serve through different events and to serve women and to kind of connect with them personally and professionally. Because I mean, we're all juggling a lot. Like women we're movers and shakers. We're making things happen in our homes and in our businesses. And just to know that there's a place that they can go to meet other people and to connect. And like some of these women just come to some of our events because they just need community. So it's truly been a blessing. We are 5 years into our Leading Ladies group. We had a networking event this morning where we do speed networking. We had 36 women show up for an hour of just power speed networking. We're kicking off. We haven't had a big lunch, one of our biggest lunches since February of 2020. So we've got a huge lunch coming up in April for the women. And it's just always really trying to find ways, again, to bring people together, because we're called to be in community with people. We're not meant to be by ourselves. And it's been a rough, couple of years of being isolated in some ways. So being able to get back out and be in community with people and do life with people, that's my passion. And I've been able to make a career of it. So thank you.
Well, congratulations. You're doing a great job. And I know everyone on here, Sara, knows Shannon Donacy. And Shannon is how I met Michelle Lorms and invited me to Leading Ladies of Northern Kentucky. And back when she invited me about a year and a half ago, when the pandemic hit, and then we just, I just didn't feel comfortable being around people. And I don't know if you even did networking during that time, Michelle, but it was just recently that I started going to the Leading Ladies of Northern Kentucky this year, and just the phenomenal amount of connections. And ladies, as Michelle says, they're servant heart leaders, and they're passionate about what they're doing, and they're truly there to help and serve each one of us that are there, as well as making friends and serving the community. So my hat's off to you for doing a phenomenal job with that. And I am just so blessed that Shannon introduced me to you and Leading Ladies of Northern Kentucky. And we look forward to doing many things together, hopefully in the future with some service projects.
Definitely. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. All right, Miss Joan, how about you? Tell us a little bit about you, please.
Okay. Hey, I'm Joan Williams, and I live in Flowery Branch. It's actually a little small town near Lake Lanier, Georgia. So Michelle, if you've ever heard of that, that's where close by where I live. So I've had the blessing to actually move back to within 5 miles from where I was born. I never thought I would circle back around, but my career has been in education. I was a family consumer science teacher for many years, and then went into administration and supervised and led 25 schools and their school nutrition program. So my background is in education and leadership, and I always had a passion to mentor people throughout my life. And I did that in my school system and my roles there, and believed in servant leadership, that the way you win people over is by serving them and looking for ways to help them grow personally so they can pursue their dreams. So I retired. I continued my love. I became an entrepreneur, became the educator turned entrepreneur. And today I mentor and coach people, a lot of young professionals. in life and in business as well, and mentoring and coaching them. And like you, Michelle, it's just that aha to see the light bulbs go off in someone's eyes when they catch a vision of what they can do with their life instead of settling for. So that's a passion. I grew up with a history of my parents serving like yours did as well. My dad was a Baptist minister for 50 years, and but he was also active in Kiwanis Club for 50 for 50 years. So I saw both my parents serve as well, and I caught the bug too. So I'm also this year president of the North Gwinnett Kiwanis Club, and I'll tell you more about that. But that continues my love to help others win in life. And by the way, excuse me for my coughing here. I'm a single mom, have been for many years, and I'm blessed to have two beautiful children, Jesse and Christy. My daughter is married to a wonderful husband, and they have two beautiful girls, my little granddaughters. I'm Gigi to my 8-year-old almost and 6-year-old little girls. So I enjoy spending time with them and investing into them and mentoring them as well. And then my daughter owns a Chick-fil-A franchise here in the area, and it's been a joy to see her become an entrepreneur and continue that tradition.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Joan, for sharing that. All right. I don't know if y'all heard that, but there's some really loud thunder coming over where I'm at right now. You know that in case we have an internet problem. Miss Lisa Parks, tell us a little bit about you and your company and what you do, please.
Okay, well, I spent many years as a news reporter. So, growing up, I lived all over the country, and I've always, loved new places, new faces. And I was one of those kids that questioned everything. So news was a great way for me to go. I was a single mom, and I raised 2 kids, and I remarried at 50. So I have a new husband, and I have a son who is a copywriter and an actor, and a daughter who is up in Chicago pursuing her PhD. So they're out of the nest, and miss them. But so what I did in 2000, I'd always been a little bit in marketing because I'd worked for a business publication as an executive editor. And I found that smaller businesses really struggled with having the budget to be able to promote. And Michelle, I'm sure that you have seen that, as you connect with people, they're like, how do they get the word out? So I really went back to the Google books and really looked at digital marketing. So I stepped out completely on my own. I had dabbled in it, but went 100%, no other compensation, thanks to Celeste being very supportive in about 2016. And when I wanted to give up, she was like, keep going. So it's really grown. I serve medical space, primarily medical practices, some home care, and nonprofits. So that's where I am now. I'm digital first, collaborative. So I work with other vendors that are similar to myself that are entrepreneurs. We collaborate, and we just have a marketing agency. And then I'm supporting, as I kind of got requested to do, working with women of community impact, stepping into some new shoes into that role. And I'm super excited because of the collaborative effort there of women that are in business that have these great networks that are really willing to leverage those and help others in the community. And our communities are future. Not only our children, but building strong communities, sets the stage for our children's future. That's a little about me.
Well, thank you so much, Lisa. And, Sarah and I and the board with the Women of Community Impact, and Penny is a part of that board. We are so honored and privileged to have you as the executive director. And we also have Joan as the director of training and development. And, what a blessing. I mean, you can just tell, Sarah, everybody on here tonight, you can tell the servant heart leadership in every one of them. And you're very passionate about serving. So Sarah, let's get going here, and I'm going to let you get started and start us off with some questions tonight, please.
Okay. So Michelle, tell us more about Leading Ladies Northern Kentucky and why you started the group.
As I shared, it was 5 years in September, and I was with my Be Local publication, I'm out calling on local businesses, working with small businesses in Northern Kentucky, just giving them opportunity to partner. And then we go out, we're sharing the publication already with the community, and they're able to advertise with me and join in the events. And again, I was just meeting all these amazing women, and it was hard. Like, we can't just, have coffee all the time or lunches all the time and do one-on-one. And there was so many, I was like, you need to meet this person. You need to meet. So we just started this. I grabbed a couple of the gals and I said, would you all be interested in starting like a networking group? And we did. And it's been once a month. We started out every other month. And it has just been so neat to just see it grow over the years and evolve from like networking to lunches. And now we're doing some evening events, but truly at the heart of it is just bringing women together to support each other and encourage each other and find ways to do business together and to connect personally and professionally.
That sounds like a wonderful group, and I've heard good things from Celeste. So that's awesome. So what are some of the opportunities for women in other markets to join Leading Ladies or launch a group of their own?
I've thought about this, and it's been a conversation with other colleagues of mine with the Into company that I work with for my Be Local publication. It's really, if you're willing to, like, I always say, hey, they can call me and I can help them get started, because it's truly about setting a date, setting a time, having a location that's willing to host you. And we do speed networking, because I found when I attend networking events, and you all might find this, when you've got an hour, you sometimes can get into a conversation and you realize 20 minutes has passed and you're like, oh my goodness, I've only met like 3 people and I got to go. And so with the speed networking format, I'm a little hoarse today because we do 4-minute conversations. Each lady has 2 minutes to share who they are, who they're with, and ways we can help them. And then we rotate. So if women are really willing to say, hey, I can do this, and anybody can, you've just got, like I said, set dates and times, and it's free. Like, there doesn't need to be a cost to it. If you've got a location, there's lots of businesses that would love for you to come in and use their space to get people in their door. So anybody who's interested, I would love that opportunity to share, because again, it has been such a blessing to me and to the women that are a part of the group.
Absolutely. And, Michelle, one of the things that I love the most about the Leading Ladies of Northern Kentucky is the speed networking, where you do get to meet several people while you're there. And the other thing is you're a connector at heart, and you're always connecting people and help facilitating that. And that's what you instill in all of those ladies. And so when they come there, they're also looking to meet other people. They're not afraid to come up to you and start talking. They feel very comfortable and relaxed in that atmosphere. And I think that's amazing. So are there opportunities for women in other markets to join Leading Ladies? I think.
Yeah, Sarah asked that.
I'm sorry.
No, they can't. I mean, I think it's definitely an opportunity. They can join our Leading Ladies NKY Facebook group to start to understand like what we do in the events we have. That's always an opportunity. They can join in that group and see what's going on and see what we have coming up to get ideas. But again, women definitely, they can start their own group. And again, the format, and you just have to be willing, like, and I forget, sometimes people don't enjoy getting up in front of a group and talking. That's really uncomfortable. I've had women saying, I've been thinking about coming for about 4 years now, and I'm just now coming because it makes me nervous. And I'm like, I get it. Like, well, I don't, because I'm a chatty Cathy, but I get it why some people would be nervous, because I still get nervous sometimes when I'm in front of the group. But really, if those one-on-one conversations kind of takes the edge off of that, it's really just being able to hone in 2 minutes a little bit more about your business and know the person across from you, they're in the same place and we're all just trying to accomplish the same thing.
Absolutely. I think the question that I wanted to ask you, and that was the one thing that impressed me the most, was share a few key events you have planned for 2022, because you also serve the community and you get involved with a lot of the business owners in the community.
Mm-hmm. So let's see, upcoming events. Every month we do our networking for Leading Ladies. We have the Easter Bunny. So my 2 teenage boys, they both have Easter Bunny costumes. They will be the Easter Bunny. I like that one because, it's like nobody tells you, like, when your kids get older, like they don't want to go see the Easter Bunny. They don't care, like the holidays that, we know what the holidays are really for, but like some of the fun stuff that goes with the holidays, like, the kids when they're teenagers. So they dress up as the Easter Bunny for me. We do an Easter event. We have our Leading Ladies lunch event where we bring in some of our local business partners for Be Local, and we do Q&A panels with them. They're some of our guest speakers. One of my favorite parts of these lunches is tying in a nonprofit. Every time we have a lunch event, we have a nonprofit spotlight. We also have a nonprofit spotlight every month in our Leading Ladies Facebook group. And we send out emails just as a way, again, I feel like the more we can be educated on nonprofits, people want to give and serve, but we just need to let them know how. And so just getting the word out. Goodness, the events, I was just looking at the event list. I should have these all memorized. We have a partnership with St. Elizabeth, and we're going to do Women Informed Stay Healthy. That's a new event that's coming up in May, kind of a wine and cheese event that I'm super excited to share with the women here in Northern Kentucky. As you can tell, a lot of these are more female focused. And it was just kind of, I find that women, we like to talk, we like to connect, we like to share. And it's just been a fun little niche. So those are a few of the events coming up. We do have a few networking events in the evening, and we'll have bigger lunches in the fall as well. And then we have Santa Claus is always a fun. We do an event with Santa Claus because, again, when you've got a lot of new people coming to the market, it's fun to bring Santa Claus out, and they can connect to meet people in that format as well.
Well, also this month, don't you have a clothing drive that you do? Is that you, or is that just the community?
No, that is. So thank you for the reminder. So on the 26th of March, it's a Saturday, one of our nonprofits, I was on the board and I just had to roll off because I've done my time. They won't let me stay on. They said I could come back next year. So it's Master Provisions, and they help, they provide the food to local nonprofits. And then they also do clothing. And so clothing that goes to third world countries that helps provide jobs for those families, but they also send it to Appalachia. So we're actually going to do a clothing drive. It's a drive-through drop-off. You can drive through and drop off your clothing. And then we also have opportunities for people to volunteer, and they can help us sort and pack the clothes. There's definitely a system in place, and they don't waste anything. Like, so if we get something that's torn or maybe something spilled on it, then they will take it and recycle it. So they're so good about not wasting anything, kind of like I think Sara had said about her family, maybe. So that's just another opportunity. We do a big, huge Go Pantry event in the fall where we do the largest food drive for Go Pantry, which is a nonprofit that feeds children in the community through the school systems. So that's another fun event where we just invite families. Families love to serve together. It's just, it's hard sometimes to find opportunities for people to serve together. But if you give them a bag and a note and said, here's what we need, they're going to fill that bag and they're going to get their kids involved and take them to the grocery store and pick up the stuff. So that's been really big. Last year, we collected over 23,000 food items and with one community food drive here in the neighborhood where we live in Union.
Well, and I remember in the fall, because I went to the dentist and Dr. Ford, and, they were collecting food right there, and you involved a lot of the businesses in there with the food drive. And it was a fun event, and to see them, bringing the food. And I love Dr. Ford's office right there. So it was a great opportunity to see that.
They are very, they're so generous. And that's what's so neat, is to see the generosity, because we hear so much negative and there's just so much heavy at times. And like to see people giving back and serving and being willing to do that and just having giving hearts. I mean, we need to celebrate it. We don't celebrate it enough.
Absolutely. And Sara, when I was at their meeting last month, and on behalf of Sara and I and Women in Community Impact, we were your nonprofit for last month, I believe it was. And we were very privileged and honored and appreciate being your nonprofit organization being spotlighted in that time frame. I lost my train of thought on that for a second right there. Sara, you got a question for Miss Lee? Miss Michelle, please.
So what piece of advice would you give to young women just starting their careers?
Oh my goodness. It seems like so long ago, doesn't it? But I, the one thing I'm appreciative that I was taught by a lot of, I had a lot of women who were my managers and that kind of took me under their wing when I was first starting out in my radio career. And they really helped me to see the importance of just listening and just being a good listener and just connecting and networking. And I encourage all young women like to find somebody that's, don't be afraid to reach out to somebody that's older. Don't be afraid to go to committee meetings and don't think you're too young to do it, because we need that next generation to be out there and to make those connections. And even now, as a mom of teens, like if you're not in that place, you tend to not know a lot of young adults. And so I'm always like looking to get young adults, young ladies involved in our women's stuff, because I'm like, goodness, like these women, we would love to take them under our wing and help them any way we can. So to all the young women out there, like find a group, whether it's through your chamber or through your church, like there's so many people that would love to like help you and feed into you and support you, because I mean, it's, you're going to run into a lot of great opportunities and challenges along the way, but knowing that there's people that you can turn to, it's just so valuable.
Yeah, and it's part of my everyday business, right? People come in here and they trust you. It's like Vegas. What's said here stays here. But you listen and you learn so many different things about people, and you can see the pain in people. And sometimes, and this is not as kosher as it used to be, I just go, can I give you a hug? And especially some of those little old ladies that are widowed now and they just don't have a lot of people in their lives. They start with tears in their eyes just because you want to give them a hug.
Yeah.
And it's all about listening to what they're saying. So listen is so important.
And it's not always about business. Like, I think it's easy when you're young to be so focused and so hungry and you want to be successful and it's just business, business, business. And as I've gotten older, it's like, yeah, but behind the business, there's people that, they've got things going on and you don't know that when you're doing business with them, but it's taking time to listen, like you said, and get to know them where you can learn a lot. And those relationships are built. And I mean, I've got friends that I met back from, 90, 92, 93, when I first started, that today I can still pick up the phone and we just right where we left off. And
Yep.
Those are the blessings.
You're absolutely right about that.
Absolutely. Before we move on to our next guest, Michelle, for our audience and our listeners, how could they reach out to you in the Northern Kentucky, Cincinnati area and get more information about Leading Ladies of Northern Kentucky?
Well, they can visit. First of all, we have a private Facebook group called Leading Ladies NKY group. That's a great starting place. They can message me personally, Michelle Brill Lorms on Facebook, and they can message me there. They can email info@leadingladiesnky.com. And then they can always reach out to me via phone, which I know that seems so old school anymore, but I say I love those phone calls, 859-462-7760.
Absolutely. And I think you put your information in the chat, Michelle. Did you do that?
Yes.
Very good. Well, thank you so much. All right, Sarah, I'm telling you what, you're going to have to come up to Northern Kentucky and Cincinnati, and all of you ladies, and check this out, Leading Ladies of Northern Kentucky. It is a phenomenal organization, and Michelle and her group of women are doing a great job getting connected in the Northern Kentucky area and giving back and serving. So, Michelle, thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Well, thank you again. I appreciate you, and I appreciate this opportunity, and just like I said, just getting to meet you and Shannon, and just I love that's just the way things work. That's just those connections that are made. This is a perfect example.
Absolutely. Miss Joan, the power of networking and servant leadership. So tell me, how and why did you get involved in serving through community service organizations?
Well, I grew up in that environment with my parents, and especially being a preacher's kid, to me, it was modeled just in a way back in the day that my dad, grew the church, was visiting people and listening to their stories and their conversations. And my parents were both always looking for ways to meet needs of other people. So I saw servant leadership, although it wasn't called that back in the day, I saw it modeled in that environment. And then when we moved to another city, my dad got invited to join the Kiwanis club in that town and ended up eventually becoming president of that club twice in 2 different terms. But as a teenager, going with him to Kiwanis breakfast, they had a big pancake breakfast to serve the community, and they used that funds to help, with different needs of that community and all kinds of needs that they met, and going to their meetings and seeing the excitement. My brother also joined the Kiwanis club, and when I moved up to Beaufort, Georgia, and was president. So I'm a 3rd generation president, a member of Kiwanis, and my daughter is now a member. So it's kind of been generational. So I grew up in that environment. But my dad always taught me, as well as my mom, that you connect with people to serve people, and sincerely doing that. But like Michelle, I know you will agree, is that when you are serving other people and working in community projects, you can develop business organically from that, because business is built upon relationships. And so that's one of the things that I always tell new members to our club is, don't join because we're not that typical business or that club where you're going to come in and, you're going to give your sales pitch and make a sale. You really are not going to do that. But when you're working alongside selling Vidalia onions or helping with the father-daughter dance, you develop relationships, and those relationships gel, that you naturally want to support one another. And that's how business grows. So that's what I love about it, and being a part of all of that. It's like, I can't imagine not being involved in an organization to serve, because it grows yourself. It helps you to get out of your own box. And it just helps you to truly grow great friendships. Like you said, Michelle, that you can be friends for life because you've bonded over the different activities that you have served. That's a long answer, Celeste, but.
It was a good answer, Joan. You did very, very well. Miss Sara, you got a question for her.
So, Joan, who were some of your role models that influenced you?
Of course, I think I've mentioned that with my parents. Both of them were active, great examples in life and faith and family as well. My mom was very active in the Quota Club. So my dad was Kiwanis, my mom was Quota. And this was somewhat as we got older. They, of course, didn't do it when we were younger children, but when we were high school and college, they became involved in civic organizations. So they've influenced me as well. And someone's asked me before, well, how did you get involved? Someone invited me. It's as simple as that, is we just invite people, and who knows, it may be the right fit for them, or we may can recommend something else to help them. My little tagline is called, I'm Joan, the connector link. So I like to connect you to what you're looking for. And it's just fun to see those connections being made that can change lives and change legacies.
Very good. Thank you. So how has these experiences benefited you personally and professionally, Joan?
I can't imagine I would be where I am today if I had not been involved in organizations. So when I was in high school, again, example of my parents, I got involved in, some of you may remember this, Michelle, I'm not sure if you're this old, but Future Homemakers of America, FHA. I think Lisa and I've talked about that before, and being prodded to develop my leadership and becoming president, and then going into college and getting involved in organizations and becoming president. So going through all these different outside organizations, outside of school and outside of work, really put the bookwork into action. And it just helped me to develop my personality, my values, and be an outlet to give back to others. And I thrive on listening for people, what they might need, and surprising them with what they've said, something that they wanted, whether that's a connection or whether that's something else. But it's just made me a very generous person, and it's given me an outlet, not only to express my faith, because that's most important too, but to develop friendships. And like all of you have alluded to, people today are lonely, and they're looking for someone just to listen to them, not to tell them what to do, but to listen for them and to care for them. And to me, that's the value of being involved, whether it's a networking group or an organization like Kiwanis, is that you have so many ways to help other people, and then for yourself to be enriched, because I've been the benefactor of people opening doors for me just by getting to know me. And when that happens, you want to be a part of that group. because it just makes your life complete and there's camaraderie among them.
Well, Sarah, one thing that I wanted to know, Joan said something, how do you get involved? You invite somebody. And I was just thinking back that how I met Michelle was because Shannon invited me, to go to Leading Ladies of Northern Kentucky. And it was a phenomenal experience. And I'm glad to have that circle of friends there and what they do. And Joan is just like, you invited me to Kiwanis. I am a member of Kiwanis. And had you not invited me, I would have probably never experienced that, because I've never been associated with anybody around the Kiwanis industry right there. And Sarah, I think, you were at one point, you were a part of I think the Rotary Club or something like that. And it all goes back to being invited. And we need to, it's like, what's the thing like going to church? When you go to Sunday school, you need to bring somebody, invite somebody to come to Sunday school, or invite somebody to go to church. Well, as entrepreneurs and business, we need to invite people to our networking events. And not every networking event is the same. And there's all kinds of different networking groups, but you can see just from this conversation so far, what kind of networking groups we're dealing with right here. We're dealing with servant heart leaderships. What do you think, Sarah?
Oh, I definitely agree. Being part of Rotary, I think it's very similar to Kiwanis. It's not the same, but it's all about service. It's all about giving back to your community. And I think Joan has and I may be skipping ahead, but you have a key project coming up to help your community out, don't you?
Yes, we do. We do. So our Kiwanis Club is very active. And from our 3 key projects we do every year, we have a golf tournament in the fall, and the proceeds go to the Home of Hope, which is a local homeless shelter for moms and their children. And last year we gave about $18,000 to this nonprofit organization. And then that's one project. And then we have a father-daughter dance every year that my brother started 13 years ago. And we just had 1,000 dads and daughters come to our dance in February. But it's been going on for 10 years. And I would say, gosh, thousands and thousands of people have come. And you never know the impact on the dads and the daughters' relationship of getting stronger through that. And they're coming to this event, and it's like a prom where it's just above and beyond a schooled father-daughter dance, and they get to see what it's like to be treated on a date. The project that we're so excited about now is our Vidalia Onion Drive. Vidalia, Georgia makes the sweetest onions. And so we've been selling onions every year, and the proceeds go to fund college scholarships for our local high school seniors. And typically we give away between $12,000 and $15,000 in scholarships every year. So that's 12 to 15 high school seniors. And $1,000 doesn't go a long way, but it makes a big difference with buying books and just giving that extra. And we interview people and select the top candidates to receive the scholarship. And it's just rewarding to know that we're making a difference in these young people's future, and just making a difference in the community. And so that's our project. I have in the chat, I did put down our website to go to if you would like to buy some onions. Michelle, Celeste will be coming back. We can send some back with her. But they're like $12 for a 10-pound bag. They're the best onions. They will keep all year long. If you wrap them up in pantyhose, if you have any pantyhose, you can do that for the year. You can do that. But you may just want to contribute to the cause. And you can go to our website and just donate money and say, I don't want onions, but I want to support the cause. To help these high school seniors be able to go to college and help out a little bit financially with that. But it's just all about, we look for all different ways in our communities that we can add value to people and connect with them and connect with other organizations that are doing great things. So it's not all us, but we partner together with people, and that makes a very big difference in our communities. So Kiwanis, in closing, Kiwanis is an international organization, and its main purpose is to improve the lives of children one community at a time. And throughout the world, we do such awesome projects to add value to children and to families and to strengthen that family unit. So for me, being a part of Kiwanis is an extension of my life, my faith, my walk, my calling that God's called me to do. And it's a way to just extend that into a broader vision. And I believe that, when you sow seed into people, into organizations, it comes back to you. You don't give to get, but it's a natural byproduct of doing that. It adds value. It adds joy to your life. You can be sad about a business situation or whatever, but you go and you interview a high school senior and you see the joy in their heart. It just adds so much value to give back. And if you don't do something differently, if you're just working a job and you're never a part of a community organization to serve, you're missing so much joy in your life that will enhance your life and work and with family.
Absolutely. So one last question. How many bags do you have to sell? Or how many bags do y'all average sell a year?
Well, this year our goal is to sell 2,800 pounds of 2,800 pounds of onions at a 10-pound bag. I think that's right, 28,000 pounds of onions, which is 2,800 bags of onions. Our leader of our Vidalia Onion Project sold 700 bags himself last year.
Oh, wow.
And
That's
so, yes. And so all of you local people, I'm going to be talking to you, but it's an awesome way to reconnect with people in business. So you have customers or clients. Why not buy a bag of onions and go give it to them? If you haven't spoken to them in a while, it's a way to do that. I know I need to close, but I'll be glad to talk with you more. My information's in the chat.
Absolutely, Joan. We thank you so much. And the Women of Community Impact is privileged and honored to serve alongside you with supporting this onion drive. So we look forward to getting our commitment into you for that. And so all of us are going to be selling some onions here, Lisa and Sarah. And we're going to bring some to Michelle. All right, Miss Lisa Parks, how and why did you get involved in serving?
I came about it kind of in a different way. I was a single mother that had these two children, and I had people pour into my life. And if it hadn't been for a community, a church, and just individuals that didn't even really know me, it would have been even more challenging. And they enriched my life so much that, I feel it's a privilege and a requirement that I do the same, because there's so many of us out there that don't necessarily say that they're hurting or in need. And so I'm called to just look for that. And that's why I serve.
Very good.
So tell us more about the Women of Community Impact and their purpose and their mission.
So the Women of Community Impact. So first, best way to learn more about them holistically is thewomenofcommunityimpact.com online. We have a brand new website. We also have a public Facebook page under the same name, and you can find us on LinkedIn and I believe Instagram, but you're going to probably best bet is that public facing Facebook page and the website. So our official mission is we're a nonprofit organization, and we work to improve the lives of area residents, so the people in our neighborhoods that are in the greatest need through mission-driven service projects. So we find that we can do that best by collaborating with a lot of the other organizations that are out there that may have a need. We leverage our networks, we support financially, or we bring in volunteers, and we kind of work shoulder to shoulder alongside these organizations to kind of extend the breadth of the work that we do together.
Well,
Yeah, go ahead.
Very good. Absolutely. So Lisa, let me ask you something. Women of Community Impact has a lot of service projects that they do throughout the year. And, what are some of the most current ones that they have coming up?
All right, I'm going to tick them off right now. So immediately at present, we are gathering funds for backpacks. So March is our backpack for foster children in Georgia and Northern Kentucky. We're looking for donations, or if you want to discuss any other in-kind or ways that your organization or you personally can support us, please reach out. You can go to our website and there's a contact page that you can reach us directly. And then I'm going to step out and say you can also reach out to me or you can reach out to Celeste as co-founders. She and Sara co-founders, so they're on Facebook as well. So we're going to gather items for backpacks to serve children in foster care that are transitioning, so that they can go as they transition with a backpack and some essential just items that for daily use, instead of having to carry, like Sara had said earlier, the trash bag, that they can have something of their own to carry their items in. So that's what we're doing for March. We're also going to be chasing after those Vidalia onions for Kiwanis Club. So get out the recipes, girls. We're going to be cooking and sharing. And then, all right, moving on to April, we're supporting Camp Amplify. And that is a phenomenal organization that serves underprivileged children and sends them to summer camp. Children that wouldn't have the opportunity to just spend some time decompressing away in a Christian environment, in nature, just with other people to serve and to pour into them. I think that it's just a beautiful opportunity. So we really look forward to that. May is Mother's Day. So we'll be working with Home of Hope. We have a really nice partnership with them. And we're going to just love on the mamas and the children. And the children are going to have some activities, and the moms are going to get to have a meal and some time just for them to just relax and have a conversation, where they don't have to look over the shoulder and worry about their children. They can just relax and spend some time in the community of others. June, July, we're going to do camp bags for Camp Amplify. And then in November, we're going to be supporting Love Him, Love Them with Thanksgiving meals, and for North Georgia and Home of Hope. And then one more, you guys, in December, we're going to support Beyond the Ribbon with children and families who are suffering from a diagnosis of cancer. I believe I got them all in there.
We've got quite a bit. And, Michelle, we need to invite you down the week before Mother's Day so you can maybe come help us serve the Mother's Day Service Project at the Women and Children Shelter. It is a life-changing moment. And I remember Lisa and Joan and Sara, one of the most things that impacted me the most when we did a Mother's Day thing, we have a lot of spouses that come in and help serve the meal. And a lot of these women are in this homeless shelter, not because they're bad people, they're good people. They may be running an abusive relationship or something along that line, something bad happened to them. And I remember this one lady that had 3 children, and Sara, and she said to me, she said, it's so nice to see that there are good men in the world, because they sat down at a table with linen tablecloths and napkins and chargers and real plates and, fancy centerpieces. And the men brought the food to them and served to them. And that, that impressed her the most, that she had hope of that there are good men out there to treat women right. And I get teary-eyed every time I tell that story right there.
That event with me, and I would love to see someday. That's kind of when you shared that story with me, I was like, goodness, I would love for that to happen in Northern Kentucky, because that is just so true. You don't think about just that simple something like a meal that we just take for granted sometimes, and these moms, how they're doing it. So you all, I love your all's heart for giving. Like, that is true. You're all such great servant leaders. So that's what I love, because I feel like that's the piece that's missing with our Leading Ladies group, is we do a lot of service, but not to that extent. And I'm excited to get you all more involved and get these ladies in Northern Kentucky more involved.
Absolutely. Sara, do you have a question for Lisa?
So, Lisa, what piece of advice would you give to a young woman just starting her career?
You know what? I just want to go over and grab Michelle's answer, because she said, exactly what I said. Just, ask questions and reach out and look at the thought leaders. If you're on Instagram or Facebook or wherever you are, and you're seeing somebody doing what you want to do, reach out. And it's such a privilege. I have the opportunity to mentor some people, and it's just such an honor for me. And it's a two-way relationship. So ask those questions, and I just always encourage them to set, look for a role model and just follow them. Just follow them. Knock on the door. Keep bothering.
Well,
Well,
what I'd like to say about all these ladies here is, and you included, Michelle, there's a lot of good leaders here who are willing to give of their time and talent to help their community. And by doing that, we're making our world a little kinder every day.
Absolutely, Sarah. As God had his disciples, I mean, that's really what we are. Joan, we are disciples. Can't say that word today. Go ahead and say what I want to say, Joan. You're muted.
Yeah, I think we're all people of faith here. And so to me, it's just a natural extension that we are disciples of Jesus and we're out there serving. And what did Jesus do? When he walked this earth, he walked around and he saw needs and he met the needs. He didn't preach to people per se. I mean, yes, he did at times, but all of his miracles and all of his ministry was pretty much by walking around and observing and then ministering in that way. And so to me, when we're given a cup of water in Jesus' name, we're being, we're carrying out the Great Commission, and it opens doors for truly important things, but it also opens doors for things here on the earth to minister to people as well.
Absolutely, Joan. And thank you for that. I just could not get that word out there. It didn't want to agree with me right now. But, the other thing, Sarah, that I'd like to talk about, and I'd like for all of y'all to chime in on this because we have about 5 minutes, is the Women of Community Impact this month, as Lisa had said, is we are collecting money and items for backpacks for foster children. I think May is Foster Children Month, if I'm not mistaken. And so we have a couple of organizations. We interviewed them, Sarah, last month, the two organizations with, I don't have them right here in front of me, but the two organizations here in Atlanta. And then we have an organization up there in Northern Kentucky that I met at your Leading Ladies in Northern Kentucky, Michelle, Edie. I think her name is Edie. And so we're looking forward to donating 300 backpacks filled with personal hygiene items. And again, when we interviewed those two organizations last month, what they said is that, there's different organizations, like maybe a child is taken from a home and it goes to this one organization that it's sitting there, with this organization till they can find till DFACS can get them. And then after they've been with DFACS, and there's this other organization that helps find the foster parent for them. But what they were sharing is that these kids come with absolutely nothing. I mean, and what they really need is, they need the deodorant and most of them are middle school kids is what they said in the interview. So, they needed like deodorant and personal hygiene items. For the men, they needed the young men. I mean, they needed shaving cream and razors for them. And I guess meant they shave young. I don't know. But, they said that they needed shaving cream and razors and personal hygiene items for women as well as men, and toothbrushes and toothpaste and things of this nature. And Sarah's the one that had the passion for this foster children, these backpacks. So Sarah, you want to say a few things about that, please?
Yeah, I would. I'd love to. I guess 10, 15 years ago, I was going to Weight Watchers, and on Martin Luther King Day, they collected suitcases for foster kids. And I thought, oh, that's a great idea. So I went, got a couple and brought them in. And as time goes on, kids don't want suitcases. All kids don't carry suitcases. But kids carry backpacks, right? It doesn't make them stand out with a backpack. Every kid has a backpack. So you want them to be able to fit in their environment as best and easily as possible. And this way, so when they come into the system, they get this backpack and with the things that they're going to need for the next couple of days. They're having a hard enough time as it is. I don't want them to stress over a suitcase, a plastic bag, but a backpack just means the world to these kids. And it just breaks my heart. kids don't ask to be brought into this world, and the things that happen to them, they don't ask for that. It's our responsibility as adults to take care of them. And that's
Absolutely, Sarah. We have about 2 minutes or 1 minute. Lisa, could you, for our audience, tell them where they can go and if they're interested in supporting our Women of Community Impact foster children promotion for backpacks and personal hygiene items? Could you direct them?
Yes, probably the best place I'm going to pull it up right now. If you want to just make it quick and easy, you can go to our womenofcommunityimpact.com. And right at the very top in the upper left, you're going to see our logo in blue, and immediately to the right is a donate button. If you'll click on that button, it's just going to run right to a PayPal. And you can put whatever amount you prefer and share it with your friends, and it'll come directly. And all of those proceeds are going to go towards those items and to the backpacks. And we are so grateful for that. And we're just honored and would love to have you participate with us. So if in addition you want to become a part of this in a larger help way, also hit the contact button and you'll just have a direct little message sent right over. And we just love to have you join with us.
Thank you so much, Lisa, for that. And we are right at the top of the hour. Boy, what a great show here tonight. Servant leaders, the power of networking with servant leaders. And Sarah, would you like to say a closing comment, please?
I just want to for us to pray for the people of Ukraine and
Yes.
everything that they're going through, and pray that this ends quickly and we don't have a larger loss of life than we've already had. And it's just heartbreaking to see what those people are going through.
Absolutely. And thank you for bringing that up. Michelle, thank you for joining us from Northern Kentucky. And we look forward to having you down here and doing things with you in Northern Kentucky. And Joan Williams, we look forward to supporting the Kiwanis Club. And we're going to invite people to these organizations and supporting the onions there. And Lisa, thank you so much for your leadership and everything that you do to help the Women of Community Impact. And most importantly, we want to thank Penny and the board at WCEG Talk Radio. Thank you so much for giving us this platform to educate and inform the WCEG community about great things that are happening. Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
night, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you.